This is MM53 coming at you. We're going to do a little down and dirty video on something different. It's not about my Jeep or like firearms like I usually do. This is about a lawnmower. What it is, it's an even cut. And that does not represent racism. I live in the South. It's a Southern thing. If you live in the South, you understand. If you don't, well, you probably don't. But it's heritage, not racism. So, back to the lawnmower. We're here in my little one-car garage for my house. It was built completed in December 1st, 1941. The single-car garage that was with the house. And I've converted this into my work shed, and there's another garage on the property that we use for our vehicles. But anyway, welcome to my shed. And welcome to the even cut lawnmower that I've purchased. It's 8.5 horsepower. It's got a Briggs & Stratton professional engine in it, which from what I'm told the difference in this has a cast iron sleeve in it instead of aluminum. The valves are better material. It's made to last. It's not a residential motor, it's a commercial motor, so it's supposed to get a lot of life out of it. We'll see. I've had this for a month. I actually had an even cut that was probably built in around the early 60s, late 50s that I'd used from a friend of mine that was older. He had it since it was new. He's an old man. And I fell in love with that old thing. And it was a little 5 horsepower small lawnmower, but man, it was great. So I went out and purchased me a new one. Like I said, it's a 24-inch cut on it. These are optional with the caster wheels. These lawnmowers aren't cheap. The caster, well, it's on the jack stand, so I can't get to move. But anyway, the caster wheels are a $150 option. But if you see, they'll have grease fittings in them. That's how you adjust it for your height. That is the only thing that's a pain in the ass on this lawnmower. But I don't adjust my height. I mean, you set it and you're done. Take this little pin out and you move these spacers to the bottom. And there's also small little washers in here so you can fine tune it. But except for that, I love the lawnmower. It's all steel. See here the bolts, they're all 8.8s. They're metric, kind of an equivalent to a grade 8. So they're all hardened bolts. It's all made out of steel. There's no plastic on this. It's all powder coated. Even the bolts that hold on this little deflector for your grass here are hardened. You can purchase a motion kit which takes this off and you get a different blade. Everything on it's fully welded. It's all steel, like I said. I hate buying things over again. If you see my gun videos, I buy expensive guns. Once I buy it, I want it to last for a while. And I was going, nothing wrong with Lowe's. I buy lots of Lowe's stuff. A lot of the tools are from Lowe's. Love Lowe's. I'm sure Lowe's loves me and all the money I spend in there. But I got sick of buying their cheap lawnmowers. So I actually went to a small engine shop that sells lawnmowers and chainsaws and stuff and got this. This is about $700 for the lawnmower. But compared to buying one at Lowe's for $400 or $500 that you're going to replace in 2 years. This is a steel cover that sits over top of the belt. It has 4 Allen screws that I've already removed before I started this video. And here's the belt drive. Others that I've had that have been front wheel drive, because I've been through many lawnmowers. Except for right now, I've always lived on 20, 30, 40, up to 82 acres at one point. And I did a lot of mowing and bush hogging and stuff, and I've went through some lawnmowers. And I'm just sick of it. So, one of the main problems I have with front wheel drive lawnmowers was when the belt comes down and it turns, you have a really sharp turn right here. The little pulley that sits over here where it does the turn is usually about the size of a 50-cent piece. And that turn cracks the belts. Belts can't handle that sharp of a movement. This is, a lot bigger. So you're not going to have the problem with the belts cracking and coming apart. Plus, this is the belt for the self-propelled. This is the belt for your blade. You got a nice 1/4-inch thick steel plate that's welded to the frame, kind of like a car. You got your frame here, and you have your cross supports where things are mounted to. Same idea. So your blade's under here. It's got a bearing under here with a little grease fitting somewhere under here, right under there, here in the front. and this is what moves your blade. What makes that nice, so if you do hit a tree stump or you hit something, it's not hitting, the engine isn't taking that shock to it. It's taken out by this, the belt, instead of it going to the engine. And if you hit something really bad, the belt's just going to slip. Instead of tearing, still going to probably mess the lawnmower up a little bit. It's going to be a lot better than if the blade's actually mounted directly to the motor. What's also nice, if you can see in here, I wasn't going to take this guard off the top. The self-propelled part right here, it's a chain. Just spray some chain lube on it like you did your bicycle when you were younger, or your motorcycle when I used to race dirt bikes, and keep that lubed up. Not overly, because the dirt will stick to it real bad, but that's a lot nicer than a belt in there. You don't need to worry about it. You just have the two belts. Your main belt for the blade has an auto tensioner in it right here. So that makes it nice, like a riding lawnmower does. So, you don't have to constantly adjust the blade all the time if it starts slipping. It is adjustable. Right back here, the two screws, those are your adjustments. You take these screws and loosen them up. These are the one, your motor's right here. It's mounted to this plate. This plate is separate from the frame. These bolts are holding it on. You loosen these bolts, and you turn these, and this will slide, forward or backwards to adjust the tension on the belt, which is nice. So you don't have, so your belt stretches a little bit. You don't have to go buy a new belt, which, they're $20 for a nice belt. You can just adjust it, which the money part's nice, but what's really nice is I don't have to stop mowing or stop doing my yard work because the stupid thing's slipping. I can just get some tools and adjust it myself. This is more like having a 1940 Ford or a Mossberg 500 shotgun or something. It's easy to work on and take apart. You don't have to know anything about it. You can just look at it and say, hey, this does this. It's not rocket science. If you can breathe and you're capable of operating a lawnmower, you're pretty much capable of probably troubleshooting 90% of the stuff that goes on this lawnmower. Maybe not internally in the motor, but the rest of it. So I just wanted to do a quick little review on this thing. I really like the lawnmower. It works really, really well. I got it on jack stands because I'm lazy and I don't want to keep bending over to film it. But I've mowed some grass that was probably, I don't know, yay tall. There's a rental house that's next to us. They come in for vacations. If there's a parade going on or some car show or something, they'll come in town and use that house. So, I mow their yard for them every now and then. And when I first got this, the yard was growing up pretty good. I didn't have a lawnmower and their gardener wasn't showing up. It was probably growing up a good 10, 12 inches. And this mowed through it no problem. You could tell, the motor slowed down. You could hear that it was actually cutting some grass, But it never stopped. It never hiccuped or backfired or never stopped running. It just kept going. Slowed down a little, but it just kept going. Can't beat it. Here's your controls up here. This is your throttle. I keep this little zip tie on here because I don't like holding it. And this is about the only nanny state thing or child safety thing on here, is you have to hold this down to keep it running. But it's a nice big, again, metal handle, not plastic. It's not going to break on you. And it's the same thing on this side. That's for your self-propelled. What it is, when you pull this, it's a real basic system. Got a nice rod right here, which is fully adjustable. You just pull a little cotter pin out, pop this out, turn it on the threaded rod. Real easy to do. And it's got adjustment, 6 inches, 5 inches, plenty adjustment. These are metal. Those metal rollers make contact with the wheel. That's it, real basic. And I've never had any problem with it slipping. It's always worked well. I did mow in the rain one day. It wasn't pouring down rain, but I guess a heavy drizzle or a really light rain. The grass was wet. I wanted to see how well it cut in the wet grass. No problem. It clumped up under there and stuff, but it still made a nice cut, and the lawnmower didn't bother it a bit. But the self-propelled, it was more like assist, because once the tires got wet, these rollers under here are metal. and it just slid on the tire. So it helped, it made a difference. But like I said, it was not self-propelled, it was assist. Oh, one other thing I like about this lawnmower is you can change the oil in it. It's not one of those dummy ones where it says oil never needs changed. Well, the reason your oil doesn't need changed is because the engine's not going to last long enough for an oil change. If you're into cars or motors or anything, you know that you just have to change the oil. There's blow-by. Blow-by gets past the piston rings, it gets in, it contaminates the oil. The contamination makes things rust, kills your lubrication. The stuff that's in the oil breaks down. There's no such thing as you can never change your oil unless you only plan on getting, 500 hours or something out of your little motor. Then you don't need to. This you can change the oil in. This also has a 2-stage air filter. Let me pull it apart real quick. It's a cardboard filter with a little sponge, like pre-filter on it, I guess you would say. And there's a lot of threads on there. It's like any riding lawnmower I've ever had. Yeah. Just comes off. But, it's nice. It comes from the factory that way. And that's where it goes. But I was just going to do a quick review. Like I said, they're not cheap if you want to spend the money on a lawnmower. And like I said, the old guy used to live down the road from me when I had some property. He would bush hog everything, but he used that around his house. And that thing was 25 years old, little 5 horsepower, Briggs & Stratton, flathead. This is the overhead valve. It's a newer motor. But it was still running. It still cut grass. And that's the day I was sold on these. And when I finally actually saw a place that had them for sale, they were sitting in the parking lot lined up. I was like, damn, got to buy one of those. Even though, honestly, I probably don't need one of these for the yard I have. I mow my whole yard down in, 35, 40 minutes, which is, not the biggest yard in the world, but I hate replacing things. I want to buy it once and have it. So I was just going to do a quick review. I know I've said it about 300 times now, but anyway, that's all it is. If you want a good quality lawnmower and you're willing to spend a little money for it, all steel, hardened bolts, all welded, industrial motor. Everything has bearings in it. Nothing has little sleeves, grease fittings. The tires are made out of all rubber. The back ones do have air. They're like bicycle tires. Get you one of these lawnmowers. I think you'll be really happy. Thanks for watching. MM53 out. God bless.